All right, in this question we're given two functions, f and g. We're asked to find f of 0, which is going to be the y-intercept, f of 1 and g of 1, and the x-intercepts, so we'll set this equal to 0, and then we'll find the value of x such that f is equal to g. Okay, so let's start. So f of 0. That just means to take out every time you see x and plug in 0. So f of 0 is equal to 2 to the 0 plus 1 over 2 to the 0 minus 1. That's equal to 2 to the 1 over 2 to the minus 1. Since they're both base 2, we can subtract their powers. So that's 2 to the 1 minus the power of negative 1, which is equal to 2 squared, and that's 4. So f of 0 is 4. So the y-intercept of f is 4. Okay, let's go over to blue here. G of x, g of 0, is equal to 4, take out x, plug in 0, all those places, 4 to the 0 minus 3, all over 2 to the 0 plus 1. So that's equal to 4 to the minus 3, all over 2 to the 1. Now I cannot subtract these powers yet because we have different bases. But 4, luckily, is a base 2 already. We just have to change it. That's 2 squared to the minus 3 over 2 to the 1. Multiply these powers. So we have 2 to the minus 6 over 2 to the 1. Now we can subtract these powers. So we have 2 to the minus 6 minus 1, which is 2 to the minus 7. We can also rewrite this as a positive and write it as 1 over 2 to the 7th, and either of those are okay. All right, part B, find f of 1 and g of 1. So this is part A. Part B, so f of 1 is equal to 2 to the 1 plus 1 is 2 over 2 to the 1 minus 1, which is 0. So that's 4 over 2 to the 0 is 1, which is 4. That's interesting. It's the same thing. Okay, and g of 1. So that's 4 to the 1 minus 3 over 2 to the 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. We can change this to 1 minus 3 is minus 2. Okay, change this base again. So that's 2 squared to the minus 2, all over 2 squared. Powers to powers, that's 2 to the minus 4, all over 2 squared. And now we can subtract their exponents. So we have 2 to the minus 4 minus 2, which is 2 to the minus 6, or 1 over 2 to the 6. All right, part C. Says to find the x-intercept for g of x. So 4 to the x minus 3, 4 to the x minus 3, all over 2 to the x plus 1. X-intercepts happen when the y value is 0, or when f of x is equal to 0. So set it equal to 0. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 to the x plus 1. 2 to the x plus 1, which will make sure that this cancels, and 0 times anything is still 0. So that's going to be 4 to the x minus 3 equals 0. Now it's kind of a cool trick. Anytime you have a big fraction equals 0, it's always just going to be the numerator, because we can multiply by the denominator on both sides and it's immediately gone. So now we have 4 to the x minus 3 equals 0. I'm going to change this to 4 to the x minus 3 equals 4 Well, 4 to the, we can't do it. We can never have an exponent equal 0. 4 to the 0 is 1. And you should know already from the function of an exponential function, the graph of an exponential function, that it never equals to 0. So here's an exponential function, like y equals 4 to the x. It never equals 0. All this does, x minus 3, is move it over 3 units. Still never equals 0. So the answer to this is no solution. Okay, and the last part. When does f of x equal g of x? Part D. Do this one in blue. So f of x is 2 to the x plus 1 all over 4 to the x, no, 2 to the x plus 1 over 2 to the x minus 1. Equals 4 to the x minus 3 all over 2 to the x plus 1. Okay. Subtract these powers. We have 2 to the x plus 1 minus parentheses x minus 1. Always use parentheses if you have two terms. Equals, change this to a base 2, 2 to the 2, x minus 3, all over 2 to the x plus 1. And we can combine these now. So we have 2 to the x minus x. Okay, so the x's are going to go away. And then we have 1 plus 1. So that's 2 squared. Make sure you do this a couple of times, especially in your head. Make sure you do it right. So x minus x is 0. And then 1 minus a negative 1, or 1 plus 1 is 2. Equals, powers to powers, we have 2 to the 2x minus 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Keep the negative. And then I'm going to go ahead and subtract right away. Minus parentheses, because we have two terms, minus x plus 1. Okay. And so we have 2 squared is equal to 2 to the 2x minus x. That's just x. And then minus 6 minus 1. Make sure you use this negative. Distribute the negative. Minus 6 minus 1 is minus 7. Which means we have 2 equals x minus 7. Add the 7, we have 9 equals